Let's talk about some Woodbine for Saturday, November the 11th. Shout out to my mom. Happy birthday to Carol Bacola on November the 11th. My son Milo is also coming up. It's on the 12th, just the day after. So a couple big birthdays. I need to make some money, folks, and we need to look at Woodbine, see if we can. I'll look at races 3, 5, 7, and 9. There are a couple of graded stakes races on the card. And remember, at Woodbine, they have the guarantee in the early pick 5. Talk more about that in a second. First, let's talk about DRF, Daily Racing Form. Those are the past performances I'm going to take a look at as we look at the best bets throughout the card, horses I like. And I would encourage all of you to sign up for a DRF Bets account because you will get a $200 match deposit bonus and they'll give you free past performances. Right off the bat, they'll give you 10 credits, 10 cards. Use the promo code STAKES and every $50 you bet following that, they'll give you credit for another card. So when you're wagering through DRF bets, you won't have to spend money on past performances as we dive on into some of our plays for Saturday. Now, the early pick 5 starts in race number 2. Some days I'll have the pick 5 previews. This particular video, I wanted to make sure we could talk about the stakes races too, which are in races 7 and 9. So I'll have a couple plays there, but I'll give you a few in the early pick 5 sequence to look at. Second race is where it starts. $100,000 guarantee on Saturday and Sunday, and you can play for just a 20-cent based wager. My first play, though, will come in the third race, and I'm going to start with the number 2, Trading Bay. This is a mare who's going to get back to 6 furlongs. And I mean, right off the bat, you can just see it jumps off the page that all 4 of the victories have come at the 6 furlong trip. And when you go through this horse's career, she's just better going 5.5 and 6 furlongs. That's where her best races come. Going a little bit longer than that, it just doesn't seem like she has the same sort of punch. Now, recently, she has 3 races where she's gone 7 furlongs or farther. And there's a win at 6. And prior to that, she was going 7 again. So in her last 5 races, 4 times she's been 7 furlongs or more. And now she's cutting back to 6. Second start off the short break, she's getting back to the synthetic. So the surface she's better on, the distance where she's better. Second off the short little break, and she will be much more fit cutting back. She'll have more of a late punch in here. I think Trading Bay is going to run a big one, 6-1 on the morning line. If we can get anything 4 and above, I think that's fair value making a win wager on Trading Bay. Let's move to race number 5. I didn't think that this particular maiden special weight had any horses that really scared the heck out of me. I think there are some solid horses in here, but nobody with these overwhelming speed figures. No one races that I watched back that I was overwhelmed by. A couple that were fine. Tag team's effort was fine, but this horse was your beaten favorite. Mrs. C has a couple of fine efforts. Princess on a Mission, same sort of thing. I gravitated back to the 3, the first time starter here. So this one goes out for a barn that's been kind of sneaky good recently with their first time starters. If you look at the Rachel Halden barn, when you go to DRF Formulator, you can adjust these statistics however you want. I just want to look at first time starters, and you can see that this barn is 3 for 26 in the sample that we have here, which is the last 5 years. But if you just focus on the recent races, so their last 10 first time starters, which dates back to about a year and a half because they don't have a ton of horses. That's not a huge sample size. But in the last 10, you have 2 wins, 2 seconds, and 2 thirds. So this barn has done really well with their recent first-time starters. And as expected, the wins aren't, at favored. These horses don't generally get bet a whole ton. The wins came at 5-1 and at 10-1, like 10.5-1. So a barn who does a positive job with first-time starters, and I can look at the recent work tab. What I see is a really nice pattern from mid-September on. And maybe like 1 work or so missed here, and there were a few in August. So we have a steady tab of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 consecutive works. And then we can, so Steady Tab, barn that's done really well with first-time starters, especially for sort of an under-the-radar sneaky barn. Now we get to the pedigree. The dam was unraced, but she's done a really good job with the horses that she's dropped. You've got Western Trouble, who was a 5-time winner. You've got Western Tappy, who's a 2-time winner. And Western Trouble won second time out. Western Taffy won career debut. Atanabe, 1-for-4, a winner, who's also stakes placed. Western Whirl, 1-for-4, stakes placed, won second time out. Western Ghost, another winner who won second time out. Scats Rose, another winner who won second time out. So what does that tell me? You've got one horse that won the debut, 4 more that won second time out. There is a ton of precocity in this pedigree. A lot of win early blood. A lot of these horses who have done good work early on in their career. Steady Work Tab, barn that's done well recently with first timers, and now a particular horse who has a pedigree that's pretty good with horses showing some young success. And then in this race, nobody overwhelms me. So it feels like a good race for a horse like this to jump up and run well at a price. Oh, it's so funny to be seeing you after so long, girl. Aliston. Yeah, did that one work for you? A little Costello. I know this world is killing you. We will definitely be singing the song if we can get this horse home in like the 8 to 10 to 1 range. As we move along to race number 7 on Saturday at Woodbine, this is the grade 3 Maple Leaf. I thought the 1 Indy Champagne at a big price fits in here. Really consistent horse overall. And a filly who always shows up, always fires good efforts, has run well against some of the better horses. Look at all of her races. She's always taken a ton of money. She's beautifully bred, and she just hasn't been a win machine, but she's been in the money in 8 of 11. She was not far behind Ephrata. She was not far behind Solo Album, and she's going to be a much bigger price. And in this race, going 1.25 miles, I don't think distance will be any concern for her. She'll save all the ground, and she'll try to come grinding. Speed figure-wise, she's not far off the top horses in here. And the stakes races are awesome on Saturday. Look at this field. It's a huge field, and you're just not going to have any overwhelming favorites in either of them. You've got 13 here and then 14 in the next race, the next graded stakes race that we're going to discuss. Millie Girl will be a major player. She just hasn't done much wrong, and it feels like distance should be no problem for her. She'll make her third start off the bench, and she came running late. The 2 horses that she beat, they feel like they would be players back again. Solo Album, no doubt, is a player. But as I mentioned, Solo Album beat Indy Champagne in a race where Solo Album went wire to wire. And Indy Champagne is 15 to 1 here and is not a horse who I think is that far behind Solo Album. And in this race, in this bigger field where there's more speed, it could set up a lot better for Indy Champagne. Just a very, very challenging betting race. Angelou, who's been close in the last few and is in excellent form right now. You've got Ever Smart, who's in nice form coming in from Kentucky, was up at Santa Rosa prior to that, and then down in Southern California. Ready Lady will need to step up a little bit, but she's been behind Moira a couple times, and we saw Moira go on and really give a nice account of herself again in the Breeders' Cup when finishing third in the Philly and Mare Turf. Really good couple of stakes races on the Woodbine Saturday card. And I figure in a race like this, take a swing. I have no problem with the 5 State of Mind on the improve. I just thought the win was a little bit soft. And I feel like the 1's a little more battle tested. Il Malocchio is probably the measuring stick. Let's go with Indy Champagne at a price in here. And then the other graded stakes race on Saturday at Woodbine. It's race number 9. It's the grade 2 Best Arabian. This one has a field of 14 major players throughout, horses that we've seen that have definitely shown that they can win a race like this and ready to venture. In our flash drive, Spun Glass is in good form right now. Just won at 27-1 right here, a similar type prep race going 6 furlongs. You've got the couple big prices in the middle. Loyalty's in excellent form, a 6-time winner who's a major player in here. You have Mr. Karras, who's really quick and is cutting back a little to a synthetic and moving to the synthetic, trying this one for the first time. You've got Midnight Stroll, who is coming off that good effort in the Presque Isle Masters. And that was just the first ever synthetic start. But I'm going to go way to the outside with Love to Shop. This 3-year-old filly has some talent. She beat the boys 2 starts back. That was on the grass. And then on October the 1st, she was just caught wide in a small field where they went really slow. Now this is going to be completely different because cutting back in this big field, there should be a much different style of pace for her. And I think that she can just drop back and make one late run. That's why I'm not really worried about the outside draw as much for her. I feel like she's just going to take back and they're going to hope that they can get some speed to run at. You start looking at Midnight Stroll from out here, I think will want to be forwardly placed. You could see races where Awesome Treat has been close up. Collecting Flatter wants to be close early. Artie's Princess does. Mr. Karras, I don't think wants to be too far out of it. You've got Owen's Tour Guide, Loyalty. All of these horses want to be close or pressing. Time for an Angel. Look at all of them. Dolce Suppressa. So many of this field want to be right up on the engine or sitting pretty close to it. Our flash drive wants to be forwardly placed. And I think it could set up really well for this filly with some talent. 3-year-old filly, facing older. She beat the boys a couple starts back. Then I think she got a compromise trip on October the 1st. Love to Shop, 15-1. If we can get anything around 8 or above, I think that's very fair value on her. Let's look at Woodbine Saturday. Don't forget, anytime you need help handicapping the races, head to drf.com for past performances, and you can get those for free when you wager through DRF bets. Good luck to everyone playing the races at Woodbine on Saturday. And don't forget, one more point to add, Woodbine on Saturday will have that mandatory payout in the Super High Five. That's going to go as the final race on the card. So we'll have more information and more details about that later on in the week. I'm going to put together a little Super High Five, and I'll play that on Saturday, where I have a chance to kind of look into the last race and really build my ticket a little bit more. But just wanted to remind you, mandatory payout, last race Saturday. It's already a $409,000 jackpot, and that's going to be Saturday, November the 11th, at the end of this card right here, this card that has some incredibly big fields. So stay tuned for more on that. That's going to go race number 11 on Saturday. Good luck this weekend up at Woodbine.